On Harry's other side, Percy Weasley and Hermione were talking about lessons. I do hope they start right away. There's so much to learn. I'm particularly interested in transfiguration, turning something into something else. Of course, it's supposed to be very difficult. You'll be starting small, just matches into needles and that sort of things. Harry, who was starting to feel warm and sleepy, looked up the high table again. Hagrid was drinking deeply from his goblet. Professor McGonagall was talking to Professor Dumbledore. Professor McGonagall and Professor Quirrell in the Artsman Tavern was talking to a teacher with greasy black hair, a hook nose, and a sallow skin. It happened very suddenly. The hook-nosed teacher looked past Quirrell's turban straight into Harry's eyes, and a sharp-hot pain shot across the scar on Harry's forehead. Ouch! Harry clapped a hand to his head. What's it? Asked Percy. Nothing. The pain had gone as quickly as it had come. Harder to shake off the feeling Harry had gotten from the teacher's look, a feeling that he didn't like Harry at all. Who's the teacher talking to Professor Quirrell? He asked Percy. Oh, you know Quirrell already, do you? No wonder he looking so nervous. That's Professor Snape. He teaches potions, but he doesn't want to. Everyone knows he's after Quirrell's job. Knows an awful lot about the dark arts, Snape. Harry watched Snape for a while, but Snape didn't look at him again. At last, the desert was disappeared, and Professor Dumbledore got his feet again. The hell fell silence. Just a few more words. Now that we're fat and watered, I have a few start of term noticing to give you. First year should note that the forest underground is forbidden, and all pupils and few of our older students would do well to remember that as well. Dumbledore's winking eyes flashed in the direction of Weasley twins. I have also been asked by Mr. Filch, the caretaker, to remind you that no magic should be used between classes in the corridors. Quidditch drills will be held in the second week of the term. Anyone interested in playing for their house terms should contact Madame Hooch. And finally, I must tell you that this year, the third floor corridors on the right-hand side is out of bounds to everyone who does not wish to die a very painful death. Harry laughed, but he was one of the few who did. He's not serious, he muttered to Percy. Must be, said Percy, frowning at Dumbledore. It's odd, because he usually gives us a reason why we're not allowed to go somewhere. The forest's full of dangerous beasts. Everyone knows that. I do think he might have told us perfects at last. And now, before we go to bed, let us sing the school song, cried Dumbledore. Harry noticed that the other teachers' smiles had become rather fixed. Dumbledore gave his wand a little flick as he was trying to get a fly off the end, and a long gold ribbon flew out of it, which rose high above the table, twisted itself snake-like into words. Everyone pick their favorite tune, said Dumbledore, and off we go. And the school bellowed, Hogwarts, Hogwarts, Hoggy-worty Hogwarts. Teach us something, please. Whether we be old and bland or young with scabby knees, our hat could do with filling with some interesting stuff. For now they're bare and full of air that flies in bits of fluff. So teach us something worth knowing. Bring back that we forgot. Just do your best, we'll do the rest, and learn until your brains all rot. Everyone finished the song at different times. At last, only the Weasley twins were left singing alone a very slow funeral march. Dumbledore conducted their last few lines with wand, and when they had finished, he was one of those who clapped loudest. "Ah, music," he said, wiping his eyes, "a magic beyond all we hear. And now, bedtime, off your charts!" The Gryffindor first year followed Percy through the chattering crowds out of the great hall and up the marble staircase. Harry's leg were like lead again, but only because he was so tired and full of food. He was too sleepy even to be surprised that the people in the parades along the corridors whispered and pointed as they passed, or that twice Percy led them through the doorways hidden behind sliding panels and hanging trapeze. They climbed more staircases, yawning and dragging their feet, and Harry had just wondered how much further they had to go when they came to a certain house. A bundle of walking sticks was floating in midair ahead of them, and as Percy looked a step toward them, they stared, throwing themselves at him. "Peeves!" Percy whispered to the first years, a poltergeist. He raised his voice. "Peeves, show yourself!" A loud, rude sound, like the air being let out of a balloon, answered. "Do you want me to go to the Bloody Baron?" There was a pop. The little man with winkered, dark eyes and a mouth appeared, floating cross-legged in the air, clutching the walking sticks. "Ooh," he said, with an evil cackle. "Inky features! What fun!" He swooped suddenly at them. They all ducked. "Go away, Peeves, or the Baron'll hear about this. I mean it," burned Percy. Peeves stuck out his tongue and vanished, dropped the walking sticks on Neville's head. They heard him zooming away, rattling coats or armor as he passed. "You want to watch out of peace," said Percy. As they set off again, "the Bloody Baron's the only one who can control him. He won't even listen to us perfect. Here we are." At the very end of the corridor hung a portrait of a fat woman in a pink silk dress. "Password," she said. "Capodrenicus," said Percy, and the portrait swung forward to reveal a round hole in the wall. They all scrambled through it. Neville needed a leg up, and found themselves in the Gryffindor common room, a cozy round room full of squashy armchairs. Percy directed the girls through one door to their dormitory, and the boys through another. At the top of a spiral staircase, they were obviously in one of the towers. They found their beds at last. 5 four-poster hung with deep red velvet curtains. Their trunks had already been brought up. Too tired to talk much, they pulled out their pajamas and fell into bed. "Great food, isn't it?" Ron muttered to Harry through the hangings. "Get off, Scabbers! He's chewing my seat." Harry was going to ask Ron if he had any of the tickles stirred, but he fell asleep almost at once. Perhaps Harry had eaten a bit too much, because he had a very strange dream. He was wearing Professor Quirrell's turban, which kept talking to him, telling him he must transfer to Slytherin at once, because it was his destiny. Harry told the turban he didn't want to be in Slytherin. It got heavier and heavier. He tried to pull it off, but it tightened painfully, and there was Malfoy laughing at it, and he struggled with it. Then Malfoy turned into a hook-nosed teacher, Snape, whose laughing became high and cold. There was a burst of green lights, and Harry awoke, sweating and shaking. He rolled over and fell asleep again, and when he woke next day, he didn't remember the dream at all.